So in late Joseon dynasty, remember there was an emphasis on 실학 or practical learning, and with this movement, people focused on actual landscape, the existing landscape of Korea. And this art movement is called real place landscape view. Instead of depicting classical views of Chinese mountains, as they studied in old masters' work, they wanted to paint the actual sceneries. So this is a famous mountain called the Diamond Mountain or Kyunghee Mountain in the northern part of Korean Peninsula. And the mountain looks like this. The reason I am showing you this photographs is these are like a remnant of a volcanic action. So you have like high-rise peaks, and then you have some earthly mountains on the other side. So Jong-sun was a literati painter, meaning he was a government official. He studied Confucian literature, but he also happens to be an excellent painter. So he visited Diamond Mountain area twice in his life, and he painted it many years after he visited Diamond Mountain. So these are his own writing. There are 12,000 peaks in Diamond Mountain area. This is his signature. His pen name was Kyunghee. There are other artists in the 18th century who also painted rear view landscape. So this one is Kang Se-hwang, another literary painter. He painted the view of Songdo. Songdo is an old name for Kaesong. Kaesong is located again in the North Korea side. So view of Kaesong. Do you recognize the human figures in this painting? Yes, here. So this probably Kang Se-hwang himself riding a donkey, and then a little boy following him to run errands. So they are walking along this countryside path. Or you can imagine how large these rocks, right? About 30 times larger than human figures. And so that's what he wanted to emphasize. Also in the 18th century, Kang Se-hwang and some other people visited Beijing as a government envoy. And there they were introduced to European technology or European civilization. So Kang Se-hwang's case, he learned European illusionism or European painting techniques. So here he is using a little bit of gradation or modeling that we see in European drawing or watercolor painting. And he also uses a little bit of perspective in his work. So things are very large in the foreground, and then it becomes very small and disappearing in the background. So this is another view of the rear view landscape, Ihagun. I am showing you the picture of the actual view, like photographs of the actual scenery, and then Ihagun's painting. And you see the travelers, well-to-do travelers working with their servants. And then in terms of genre painting, the most important painters are two, and one is Shin Yun-bo, and the other is Kim Hong-do. I probably have a Kim Hong-do over here. If you have a real place or real view landscape movement in painting, that you also have a new subject matter of painting everyday activities. So Shin Yun-bo and Kim Hong-do, both of them were court painters. They were working for the king in the palace, and they also painted numerous scenes of everyday activities. So he has one album. Shin Yun-bo have one album. Kim Hong-do also has one album, but in each album you have about 25 scenes. It seems like you have a lot of scenes of everyday activities, but these are the best kinds. Shin Yun-bo's work that you are seeing over here is an example of a beautiful lady in the 18th century. So often when people reconstruct late Joseon dynasty traditional clothes called hanbok, they look at this picture and create that tight jacket and voluminous skirt. In order to have this voluminous skirt, you need a little bit of undergarment to make it voluminous and very tight. and then your waistline is exposed here. It's covered with ribbons, but it's like your waistline, high waist. And then at the time, this type of voluminous hair was also very popular. And as you can see in this picture by Shin Yun-bo, Women by a Crystal Stream, these women, more like workers, are working, they are doing laundry, but a woman of a little bit more higher status, she adds other people's hair into her big braids so that it's going to be voluminous like this. People say that it's very heavy. So who liked this kind of painting? Yangban, sort of aristocratic class of Joseon dynasty. But in the late Joseon dynasty, we also had many merchants class, meaning their social status is middle. They are not the Yangban class, but their wealth sometimes exceeds of those old Yangban families. So for those people, they liked this kind of immediate understanding of the world, such as the daily life. So in many stories depicted by Shin Yun-bo, he focuses on that erotic sentiment between, let's say, this young man eyeing on this beautiful young woman, but they are all like professional entertainers called kiseng. Or Shin Yun-bok's case, beautiful ladies are enjoying summer festival. This summer festival is called the Dano Day. It is May 5th in lunar calendar, so it's late springtime. And women are supposed to bathe and wash their hair in order to maintain that black, voluminous hair. And here you have these little monks. These are Buddhist monks. You can see they are tonsured or shaved hair. So they are picking through the rocks because it's such a beautiful scenery that they cannot often see. Or man and woman, even though it's a Confucian society in which men and women have their separate quarters of living and separate rules of behavior, you cannot forbid love affairs. So they are secretly meeting under somebody's fence or a wall under the moonlight. So lady in a hooded cloak. So she secretly came out of the room in order to meet this man. This is a lamp. He's holding a lamp. Or Shin Yun-bok painted Yangban. So these men in a voluminous long robe, and then fashionable cut. This is called cut or top hat here. So they are enjoying the springtime flowers. So they hired, again, kiseng. These are professional entertainers, and they also hire the musicians over here so that they are enjoying springtime picnic outdoor. Or this is not outdoor. I mean, this is outdoor, but this is somebody's garden. Probably, this man's garden. Again, you have three Yangban figures over here, and they are enjoying the beautiful weather and the music and this kind of, enjoying lotus while listening to music. Kim Hong-do's case, he depicted scenes of everyday life, but he depicted more of commoners, like workers. So it's the same scene with Shin Yun-bok's case, like women doing laundry. But in this case, it's not that fashionable kiseng people. It's more like a village housewives, right? And then this woman came with a child. So baby asks her for like more milk, or asks her to hold him, and then the woman is washing her hair. It's more like a personal hygiene instead of making that, voluminous, stylish hair. And then, but even then, this Yangban man, although he, should avoid the scene, he's hiding behind the rock and then, taking, enjoying watching them. And then they are drying their clothes and those kind of things. Or a supervisor is watching workers changing the roof tiles. Or street music. So this is contrast I often ask, are these paintings painted by the same artist or two different artists? Both have a music, sort of round composition, right? But this is by Kim Hong-do, and this is by Shin Yun-bok. Shin Yun-bok often painted a little bit more poetic landscape here, like a landscape, and then his work have a more vibrant colors, like red or blue, really blue, and then his painting usually have a really stylish young man and pretty and fashionable 기생 people together. So Kim Deok-shin was also a court painter. He was a follower of Kim Hong-do. So Kim Deok-shin also painted this kind of scenes of everyday activities. The cat snatched one of those little chick, right? So the man and the woman is chasing after the cat. You shouldn't do this, right? And then we also had female artists. So this is woman artist. Long time ago, we had Shin Sa-im-dang, and this one is a work by Shin Sa-jung. This is his pen name. 현재 Shin Sa-jung is imitating the woman artist Shin Sa-im-dang's work. And then women often stayed home, and then they made their own cloth, wrapping cloth. So in a way, it's a geometric composition, right? You just have scraps of cloth, and then you maximize it by stitching together in order to make a rectangular wrap. And then I'm going to skip this, but Kang Se-hwang and Kim Hong-do supposedly worked together to make this tiger painting. So that is the end of Korean art. But if you take my Korean art and civilization, you will study more artists in depth. Thank you for watching.